I literally can't keep up with all the stuff you're sending me.
No more!
Alright, first up we have Phantom with Handed to Execution out of Mexico, and that is loud. There we go. A little thrash accent, sounds like. Like the cover. Appreciate the inclusion. I don't remember posing for this one. Ooh. Here we go. A little headbanging action. Calling it witching metal. Very classic 80s sounding vibes. I dig. Ooh. Classic heavy metal soloing sounding stuff. Production's really good. It's got that retro feel, but it's very clean. Everything coming through nice. Little Motorhead vibes on this one. Definitely could see this playing alongside the likes of Midnight. Love the touch of reverb on the soloing. Just like the leveling and the mixing job here is great. I'm telling y'all, like, there's just too much. Listen to that tapping. This sounds best of the month worthy, but unfortunately, I just had too much. Like, the October episode was like an hour and 20 minutes, and I couldn't even fit everything into it. But yeah, this sounds fantastic. I might have to give this more of a spin. But yeah, that is Phantom with Handed to Execution. Then we have Banished Realm with Impious Rumination of Australia. Cool cover there. A little death spell vibe in that artwork. Reminds me a little bit of like Foss. Just 2 tracks. 2 epic dirges of pummeling death doom, I should say. Excuse me. Nice graveyard photo here. I like that. Classic doomy picking patterns there. A little chuggy. Like the guitar tone. Good job kind of mixing up the pacing from what I'm hearing. Yeah, and here again. Some good dynamic changes. Oh yeah, and into the big chasm of a doom chord there. I like the vocals too. Very gnarly sounding. Kind of good. Solid production, mixing. Australia's got some good stuff. After all, they are the land of Portal. I think of them as. Good groove to this one, with my head bobbing. Ooh, kind of opening up into the atmosphere. Yeah, I dig it. That is Banished Realm with Impious Ruination. Then we have Aamoth from Wells Valley, who I have covered on the channel before. I think it's been quite a while. It's funny, I sometimes have like random vivid memories of the first time I listened to something, and I remember being at the local community college cafeteria, I believe waiting for my partner to finish with something, or it might have been work related. And just chilling out between doing things, listening to their previous release. Or one of their previous releases anyways. That was several years ago. Yeah, this was even something I was considering listening to for like best of the month purposes, but again, just too much stuff. Yeah, they are on Lava Dome, which is a Czechia label, not labial. That is something different. Yeah, as I recall, kind of this very atmospheric, very dynamic, kind of tunneling presence this band has. I think the last release I listened to was only 3 tracks, but this one is 6. And it's kind of giving me Deathspell vibes again. I like that. There's kind of like a metronome quality to that. Yeah, really solid atmosphere. Sometimes I wish there were like 3 of me to cover all this stuff, because it's so good, but it's too much. Then solid production. That bass rumble is great. Just very malevolent sounding kind of stuff. Honestly, I think pretty soon Deathspell are going to have their work cut out for them, because there's just so many bands with a similar sound now that are kind of creeping up on them in quality, and honestly, that last Deathspell release I thought was just kind of mid. So yeah. Wells Valley, another one to add to the pile. Yeah, check it out. Aamoth. Next up, we have, oh my goodness, Therion with Stelios Romalia. y'all just, I swear you do this to just punish me at this point. Stelios Romaliadis with Hexis Hormetica Para to Cathicon. That's not even close, I'm sure, but you try it. You try it. I could throw it into Google, but I am just too busy. That's cool. Kind of a drone mixed with a little, like, almost maybe some dark folk in there or something. Atonal music in the description. Yeah, like Silent Hill music, basically. And I like stuff like this. It's not something I love, but again, good background thinking music. And I like throwing in a variety of different stuff on these things, especially as I'm getting the hiccups. That's what you want. I like these nails sticking out of the the center part here. That's really cool. I've seen some cool stuff done with the like scheme. I almost want to like zoom out a little bit so you can see it better. Like that goes out, so that's pretty neat. I like that. Yeah, it's hard for me to really speak on drone because I just don't know much about it, but I mean, it sounds really good. Again, production's really solid. Like the just very ominous atmosphere of it. I like that they're throwing in a lot of different sounds too, and some effects here. A little touch of like flute here and there is a nice thing. But yeah, that is this thing. Links, as always, will be down in the description for all of these bands. Alright, we have Blight Evis with Blight Evis out of New Mexico. Noisy. Just one track right now. Name your own price, which is always nice. Extra vocal. Definitely scary music. Misanthropic, nihilistic art of the human condition, it says. Now, it might be the intention, but when you have this much treble in your mix, it gets very shrill. And again, that could be for effect, in which case it's brilliant and it's working, but it doesn't make for a very listenable experience, I will say. And again, like if you're not going for that effect, I would turn the guitars down a bit, bring the treble down a bit, and bring the drums a little bit more forward. But if you just want to scare people and make the most raw cult music possible, then you nailed it. It does sound misanthropic and nihilistic. There are elements of it I do like. I like the vocals too. Yeah, definitely not for the faint of heart here. This is for the true believers in the dark arts, it seems. But yeah, that is Blight Evis with Blight Evis. Alright, we have Sodom Maze, lovely, with the sick, the strange, and the strong.
It may seem shocking to your conformist eyes. There's a thing called freedom, baby, and it's mine to exercise.
Is that from something? Oh no, that's the vocalist saying it. Alright, this is gonna be another one of those. Another one of those weirder... Sodom Maze is a bastard band. No real genre, no real hometown, no defining influence. Wait. Gen Z. A little doom here. Kind of a folky melody there. I like the bass. There's something kind of hypnotic about this part. I wasn't expecting to hear Gen Z in the lyrics, though. This is out of Georgia, Griffin. Or Griffin, Georgia, sorry. There's kind of like this, like, hypnotic vibe to this. I do think the vocals feel a little like... a little more oomph in the vocals. I don't know how to put it. They're almost like a little too laid back. Yeah, a little work on the vocals, I think, would... depending on how serious you want to take this. I like the guitar work. Yeah, I think the vocals and the production are where I would give the most feedback here. And I think these portions are actually I'm more interested in. I love this bass part. Yeah, the harsh vocals are feeling more off than the cleans, but the cleans are also not always like fully on key. But yeah, sounds interesting. That is Sodom Maze with the sick, the strange, and the strong. Then we have Warfield Within with Beast Inside. Okay, here we go. Out of Mönchengladbach, Germany. Mönchengladbach, something like that. I feel more confident with German, even though I don't always get that right either. Death Thrash. Definitely hear that. Been a great year for thrash. Like, honestly, unbelievable. Even the legacy acts bringing some of their A game and even best material. Sadist, killing it. Even Overkill, like not the greatest album, but a strong one in their discography, I would say. And then plenty of newer stuff too. Younger projects bringing the pain too. A lot of the haunted in these guitars I'm feeling, which I'm a big fan of their first two albums in particular. Yeah, those kind of Melodeath inspired riffs mixed with the thrash energy. Big fan of that. I think in terms of feedback, cool intro here. Vocals could use a little work. I'm not going to be too specific about like what needs to be done, but it just feels like they could be a little bit more dynamic, I guess. And maybe mixed a little better. And then the drums, too, feel a little kind of lost in the mix. Like the bass pedals, like kind of way too loud and a little fake sounding. And then the snare and the cymbals are kind of more washed out. It could just be Bandcamp's compression, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking in terms of where to go from here. But I think foundationally, in terms of the guitar work especially, and the songwriting sounds pretty solid. I think you'll go places with, again, the support of the fans here. That is what this segment is all about, is getting you all interested enough to go not only check out these bands for yourself, but hopefully buy some of their music and share it with other people. Let them know. That's what these bands need more than anything. So that is Warfield Within with Beast Inside. Then we have Berserk with Misanthropic Descent. I don't know how much you want me to pronounce that particular character. This is out of Norway. Sounding like maybe some just classic second wave sounding black metal. Yep. A little bit of toke in there too. I'd say solid production job in terms of capturing that sort of raw, minimalist sound of bands like that. Going for that kind of like early Mayhem sound too. This part's a little early Enslaved too. Okay, some key issues with those cleans, but oh, yeah, Young Guns too, which I love to see too. I mean, a lot of those black metal bands, they were putting out their first demos and even first LPs when they were in their teens, which is pretty wild, and one of the kind of cool positive things about that movement. The murder and occasional white supremacy, that stuff not so cool, but the fact that you have these really young people putting out some pretty impressive work is pretty cool. So I guess what I'm saying is stick with the instruments in the recording and stay away from the matches. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, it sounds good. Again, I always say on these segments it's hard for me to say much about these very classic second wave sounding projects, because a lot of them just sound very similar. So I think the biggest piece of feedback I have for this one is, again, carve out your niche. Figure out how can you stand out amongst the waves and waves of music like this, because you are unfortunately but a single piece of hay in the haystack, so to speak. A grain of sand on this black metal beach, as it were. That is Berserk with Misanthropic Descent. Then we have Ethereal Tomb with When the Rivers Dried. I think this has been sitting in my queue for a minute, but it hadn't been released yet, and now it is. Well, part of me feels like I might have covered this before. I'll double check later. Out of Canada. It's very gnarly doom, it sounds like. Doom for the mindful and societally dissatisfied. It does have more of that kind of nihilistic vibe, doesn't it? I like that crunchiness of that riff. Definitely sort of an infectious groove to that. Cool intro here. Very sort of bass driven too. Very music for the swamp. It's definitely fitting to this album art, because I wasn't even registering what it was at first, but it is this kind of like rundown, ugly forest area. Looks like there may even be like fire smoke. But I also imagine that it's like all boggy and you're sinking up to your knees in just muck. Gnarly stuff. Seems like very kind of live vibe to it too. But yeah, that is Ethereal Tomb with When the Rivers Dry. And we have Divided by Design making a return with, I believe, their second release this year, yeah. So we covered them back in like February with The Fear of Being Forgotten, which was excellent. More great cover art. And just tons of tracks here already. I will say once again, 10 GBP for your album is asking a lot for digital. That's $12.13 for us in the US. For just digital, for a band that's still pretty unknown. Again, not saying your music's not worth the price, because it is. I've been very impressed with this project. And if you love instrumental music, a la, again, Animals as Leaders, these are your guys. But yeah, that's just price point worth considering a little bit more if you're trying to grow your audience. But yeah, just listen to that though. Dizzying guitar work. They also call them like instrumental dream theater at times. But definitely a band that is screaming to open for Animals as Leaders above all else, I would say. That would probably be the best thing for them in terms of exposure. Yeah, all those great dynamics to these songs, and they're one of those instrumental bands too that do this really important thing where it's like the instruments do enough of the talking where you don't need the vocals. Like, it's already totally strong on its own. I like these kind of symphonic elements I'm hearing too. Listen to those drums though. The drums alone are so good. And then like that's a good example right there. That guitar line. That's basically like a vocal line, but on the guitar. And you got some like brass in here in the background. Sounds amazing. Please do check out Divided by Design. This is a canvas for the universe. Then we have Darian with New Era Part 4 Resurgence. It's an Italian project. Are we going like folk metal? Symphonic power metal, okay. So maybe a little Sabaton kind of thing. Oh, that audience looks like they're having a good time. That's a good choice for a picture. Don't show the band. Show your crowd having a good time. Okay. I'm getting more and more into power metal slowly. I'm still kind of picky about it, but this is my shit right here with the fantasy and the bombastic symphonic elements. Ooh. These big catchy vocal melodies. Slowly winning me over to the power metal camp. So I think the older I get too, the more I just want some fun metal, especially with just how dreary and just awful things are right now. Like, I still love like really dark and menacing and nihilistic music, but it's like I need escape more than anything, and I think that's healthy. Even as a mental health professional, I think having your head in all this misery 100% and feeling like you constantly have to speak up on everything, every little cause, like, that's not healthy. That's not healthy, it's not productive. So, escape into fantasy. Play some D&D. Listen to some cheesy power metal. This is great. Production sounds awesome, too. Like, I don't think I have any particular feedback for this one. Like, just sounds really fun. Oh, and apparently, I'm a Fool. These guys have been around since 1998. From them. But again, I'm a noob to power metal, so I would not know that. But yeah, check out Darian with New Era Part 4 Resurgence. Then we have Senestra with Senestra. This is a French band. Interesting sounds. Ambient, doom, neoclassical, post-metal, all in the tags. Oh no, the label is French, not positive on the band. Kind of cool. Hypnotic part there. Feeling maybe female vocalist here too, which I love. I think it brings some different dynamics, even in the screams too. Different vocal chords, different vibes. I'm trying to decide what I want to call. Oh wait, I want to hear that. That was cool. I love intros like that. The just pure a cappella vocals and then the big music coming in. Feedback-wise, I think the production could be a little stronger. I think the instrumentation sounds a little too gritty. Like, a little grit to music like this is good, but I think these sections sound a little better, the more kind of drifty, post-metal-y parts. It might even just be as something as simple as a choice of distortion, considering these kind of cleaner parts sound better to me. But once that hard distortion comes in, it's a little... Yeah, these more atmospheric elements are great. Reminds me a little of Dreadnought. Just the overall vibe of it. Very getting me bobbing my head. That's always that's always a good sign. Yeah, sounds really interesting. Again, check out these bands. There's just so much cool stuff out there to discover that's just outside of what you'll normally find on the major outlets there. But that is Senestra with Senestra. Then we have Flesh of the Stars with The Glass Garden out of my old stomping grounds of Chicago, Illinois. I was glad to find some fellow Chicagoans and Midwesterners in general. What are we in for here? Progressive doom and synthesizer worship. Okay. Starting on the softer end here. Pretty long release here too, if you look at this. Only 5 tracks, but most of the tracks on the much longer side here. Very chill, peaceful. Good palate cleanser from all that other stuff. You have a little, like, is that slide guitar in there? Pretty. Probably some of the strongest clean vocals so far today. Hitting all the notes. That should be bare minimum, but when it comes to metal and underground acts, you're not always even going to get that. It opens up. Oh, we do get a little heavy, okay. Again, just sampling ooh, little synth elements here. Kind of 70s prog vibes. A little Pink Floyd even. Lots of like indie vibes in the vocals too. Reminds me of stuff like Mew. I wish that stuff would come back. Like that, I miss when indie music and pop punk and alternative rock were popular. Because I gotta be frank, like, I hate to be the old fogey that's like, back in my day, but man, comparing growing up in the 90s and hearing the radio then with alternative and new metal and all that stuff, like, compared to the radio now, there's a reason why I just don't turn on the radio most of the time. There's some good stuff out there, and I feel like the tide's turning, but anyways, getting off topic. This sounds really good. I don't really have feedback for it. I think if you're into the softer side of doom and progressive and chilling out, It's like very melancholic at times, but yeah, that is Flesh of the Stars with the Glass Garden. Alright, then we have Mutilation Case with Mutilation Case. Out of Hungary. The classic death metal sounds. What a weird cover. I like the animated band members though. It's kind of fun. Oh, once again, it's the label that's from Hungary. I'm not sure about the band. Kind of an interesting sound. This little tapping riff there. Cool little transition. Very chaotic soloing, too. Yeah, I was going in thinking this was going to be a little meat and potatoes, but actually, it's kind of like this almost psychedelic vibe to it. Some pretty subtle backing atmosphere, too, if you're listening with headphones. Some real subtle use of, I think, synth, too. And again, I doubt you'll even hear it if you're just listening on a speaker. Oh yeah, get that DB going. Oh, a little saxophone there, I think. Okay. Yeah, pretty interesting. Kind of unique, too. A little, like, springy noise in there, too. Almost sound like a jaw harp. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Very, very interesting. Not at all what I expected. Again, I from that opening, I thought it was just going to be your standard death metal, but you got some organ here. Seems like there's actually quite a bit going on. Yeah, very interesting. Definitely enough to make me want to check out more of this. So yeah, check out Mutilation Case with Mutilation Case. Alright, next up we have Frack ASM with And So the Blood Was Shed. I kind of like that name. I don't know why. Frack ASM. Cool, ominous intro here. Ooh. And that transition kind of caught me off guard. I thought we were going to go a little longer. I like that. Off of the French label, Great Dane, which has some good stuff. And more kind of a blackened death metal vibe on this one. We do have black metal in the tags. I like the guitar work. Production's pretty strong, too. Big soaring leads. Something I could see opening for like the Black Dahlia murder or something like that. Ooh. Good layering of vocals there. I like those kind of raspier vocals, too. Yeah, really liking the riffing, though. Some really classic melodeath sounding riffs. But with still that sense of brutality, especially thanks to the vocals. So much good stuff, though. It's like, I wish I could cover it all. I wish I could get all these into bigger segments, too. But there's just not enough time in the day. I'd need, like, at least 5 of me to cover it all. Yeah, that sounds super rad. Another really strong release today. That's Frack ASM with And So the Blood Was Shed. Alright, next up is Mind Knot with I can't even read this. Esigenza? Not sure. You'll have to help me out with that one. Okay. A little chaotic here. A little noisy. Out of Rome, Italy. Just broken glass for the cover, looks like, or is that obsidian? Okay, getting real punky here, too. Mathcore and noise in the tags. With hardcore. Like that. Definitely leaning into the noisy side, for sure. But just a lot of punk and hardcore energy there.
The moment has expanded to become an infinity of absurdities.
Always the good use of samples in this style. Plenty of feedback, of course. Ooh, I like those vocals. Kind of eerie how they're sort of buried in the back there. The punkier vocals are definitely going to be a make or break for some people, I have a feeling. Which is fine. I kind of like how chaotic and just devil-may-care they are, but I could see how maybe over 18 tracks, even though they're short tracks, it could maybe wear on me. Ooh. This little drum and bass break there. Yeah, this is interesting, because I hear a lot of, like, noise and mathcore projects, but, like, this is, like, the truest I've heard one stay to kind of the hallmarks of that, like, 80s punk and hardcore sound. Like, it's using modern tricks, but just the vibe and how they play just sounds very retro, which is a little different, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, definitely interesting. Be sure to check out Mind Not with Esigenza. Alright, next up we have Cosmic Jaguar with the Order of the Jaguar Knights out of Ukraine. I feel like we've had more and more projects out of Ukraine lately. Intro here, this 4-song EP. Oh! Hey, that actually got heavier than I thought it was going to. Pure thrash. Those guitars hit pretty hard, too. Ooh, I like that bass tone, too. Just this very warm bass tone coming through the headphones. Kind of surrounding you. Good kind of like almost mathy groove there alongside the guitar solo. I like the kind of Aztec vibe of the cover here. The Jaguar fur is a little tacky, I will say. I have a feeling that a lot of metalheads will look at that cover and not at all guess that this is going to be like a just straight for the throat thrash metal album. So room for some adjustment there, I would say. Because whenever I see leopard print or jaguar or tiger or whatever, it just makes me think of like really tacky 90s fashion. And believe me, I had me some... I had like a duvet cover with that on a waterbed too, of all things. I was a pretty cringy teenager, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I've got some like classic heavy metal vocals in there too. Yeah, y'all continue to surprise me. Like even the stuff on the list where I kind of just at first glance am like, I don't know, this looks kind of cheesy. Like we're getting some like prog elements in here too. Never judge a book by its cover. God, that bass is great. and just great punctuated songwriting. I talk a lot about, like, have those little moments in the song that catch the listener and go, like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that was cool. I do kind of like the symbol too. Kind of different. Definitely not a Ukrainian vibe for the symbol. Looks more like maybe African or something like that. Ooh. See, that's what I'm talking about. All these little transitions are great. Hell yeah. It's a big build for the end. This is great. And they do describe themselves as avant-garde technical thrash, which I can definitely hear that. Oh, and a little Cynic cover here, too. Very cool. I'm digging this. It's just so many interesting stuff this week. Again, that is Cosmic Jaguar with The Order of the Jaguar Knights. Alright, next up we have Wild Divide, who, my understanding is they have an EP, but I could only find singles on the Bandcamp page, so I might jump around here a bit. Well, this is definitely different. Solid vocals, though. Singing voice sounding good. Where are we going with this? This is out of South Carolina. Okay, more of a pop rock vibe on this one. Which we cover some non-metal stuff on here, but it's definitely pushing the boundary a little bit. Objectively, though, it sounds good. Like, the production's solid. The singing's much better than I generally get. And honestly, I'll just say, like, this is stuff that I do like. I do listen to also, when I'm not in a metal mood, this kind of slightly more cheesy, kind of like pop punk, pop rock kind of stuff too. It's nice to have some uplifting stuff in your repertoire too. There's some like bluesy guitar in there too. I have a feeling a lot of listeners right now are maybe skipping over to the next band, but no, I think there's a lot to enjoy here. I like the little strings too. Let's check out another. We got 2 2023 tracks on the Bandcamp page at least. So this is The Artifact. Oh wow. Okay. There are some heavier elements in here. Yeah, more kind of pure prog rock. Pretty infectious, too. Got a lot of groove. The bass and guitar, like, really. Love those guitar lines, too. Ooh. This has, what's the band that, Fall of Troy? Like, a little bit of Fall of Troy in here. Like, they're going for, this is a little bit more like rock and roll with some blues, but just like, a little bit more of that, like, math rock vibe on this one. Just a touch of that. Yeah, it sounds interesting. And, again, well performed. I don't know how much the audience for this particular segment is going to love it, but I think there's a lot to check out here. So yeah, that is Wild Divide with The Artifact and Crystalline. Alright, another single here for an upcoming EP. This is Demolin with I Shall Transcend. Big opener here. Fitting to the title so far. This big, transcendent build. Pretty cool cover. They're standard, but they're well put together. They're out of Gothenburg, Sweden, home of many amazing acts. Dark Tranquility, In Flames, I think At the Gates as well. like this kind of fantasy themed banner here. Oh, another one-man band too. They describe themselves as more of a black metal band, but a little bit more like black and death metal. Very head-bobbing stuff. Looks like they also have some other singles from this year. That's pure black metal right there. DB. Fun stuff. Yeah, it definitely makes me interested. Demolin, be sure to follow up when the full EP is up. But yeah, that is Demolin with I Shall Transcend. Alright, next up we have Venus with Obscured Until Observed. And at the time of recording, we've only got 2 tracks here, but by the time this video goes up, the full album should be out. Off of Spanish label Extreme Music, out of Madrid. Okay. Definitely some Vector love here. Right down to the logo. And the sci-fi theming. And you know what? We could all use a little bit more Vector, and some people, frankly, are looking for a Vector alternative. So, here you go. Yeah. Creator, Vector, Death, Coroner, Cryptic Shift, and Atheist. This is their first album. Definitely hear that tech thrash in there. Another thing that sounds worthy of the thrash metal list, honestly. But again, like my stuff is already locked in. At the time of recording this, I've done my year-end rankings for every genre except for black metal. Because I've got a few lingering black metal releases I really want on there, like Panopticon. This sounds really sick, though. Got that D-beat again. Crazy guitars. This sounds amazing. Definitely gonna have to download this one. Just like arthritis-inducing performances here. A little more kind of emotion in this track. Kind of reminds me also of like somehow Artificial Brain, even though it's like all chaotic and technical and kind of gore gutsy, sometimes there's some like sadness in there. Well, clean vocals in there too. And always head bobbing though. It never loses the thread on that. I like those cleans too. It gives even more flavor to it. Looks like they even have a video for Circus Strange. So worth checking that out too. Yeah, that sounds wicked. Gonna be checking out Venus with Obscured Until Observed. Well, y'all, that is plenty for this month, I think, as usual. There's just so much to cover, and I thank you all for watching this segment, even though it's the least popular, but it's one of my favorites to do. Check out the bands, buy their music, share it around, support them. That's what this one is all about. Also, if you want to, you can support me on Patreon, which is linked in the description. You can see videos early. If you're new here, I put out new videos twice a week at least, and especially running down to the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.